Hi students, coming to the next topic, that is the Boolean expression. So for SDT, so by using the syntax direct translation, let's see what are the Boolean expressions for the given grammar. A Boolean expression have two primary purposes. So the two primary purpose of Boolean expression is it is used for computing logical values. So one thing is it is used for computing logical values, and next it is used for the conditional experiments, used as a conditional expressions like if, then, else, while, do, like that. Okay, one is the logical values and another is the conditional expressions. So consider a grammar here. I'm taking the grammar of different productions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 productions are there for this grammar. So E determines E or E. E determines E and E. These are the Boolean values, logical values. E determines not E. E determines within the parenthesis E. E determines ID relop. Relop means relational operator. Okay. It's a relational operator. So what are the relational operators? Less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, like that. So ID is less than ID, ID is greater than ID, like that. So E determines ID, relational operator ID. And E determines true, E determines false. So this is the grammar. Okay. So for this grammar, we have to construct the SDT, the production rules, and for that production rule, what is the semantic action? So here the and the or, whatever the values we are, and or are the left associative, and not is having the higher precedence than the remaining and or. So let's take the first production. E determines E1 or E2. So for this production, what is the action that has to be taken? So whatever the production that it looks like this, okay, while parsing the tree, whenever there is a reduction, you come to this production and check what is the action that has to be take place. So for this production, the action is E dot place is equal to new temp. So means you have to assign any temporary variable. For that temporary variable should be just generate the 3 address code, that is a E1 dot place or E2 dot place. So just like the translation, you have just seen the translation of assignment statements. So in place of for assignment statement plus into, like that, here instead of plus and into you are taking or and end. Okay, so E determines E1 and E2 means E dot place is equal to just assign a temporary variable to E dot place, and emit means generate a 3 address code for E1 dot place and E2 dot place. And the third production, is E determines true. This is not the third production. Let me take the third production was E determines not E1. Not E1 means for this also you had to assign a temporary, take a temporary variable and place in E dot place and generate a 3 address code, that is E dot place is equal to not E1 dot place. Now E determines E within the parenthesis. Just assign E1 dot place to E dot place. Now coming to here, this is a very important quest. So we'll take a separate example for this thing of production. E determines ID1 relational operator ID2. So here we need to check the conditions less than, greater than or not equal. Okay, so that we have to check. E dot place is equal, let's take a temporary variable and emit if ID1, let's take ID1 dot place relational operator ID2 dot place. Okay, go to next step, state plus 3. Okay, so if it is ID1 dot place relational operator is opposite, so just skip to 3 steps, skip the program to 3 steps, means you have to go to the after 3 steps. So otherwise E dot place is equal to make it as a 0. And go to next, after that go to next 2 steps and emit E dot place is equal to 1. So this steps I'll explain by taking an example, don't be confused. And the fourth production, what is the fourth production? The fourth production is E determines true. So just E dot place is equal to assign a new temporary variable and generate a 3 address code, that is E dot place is equal to 1. True means 1, 0 means false. That you have to be remembered. True means 1, 0 means false. So emit generates a 3 address code and the new temporary function generates a temporary variable. So that we know that. E determines ID1 relational operator ID2 contains next state and it gives the index of next 3 address statements in the output sequence. So let's take an example, then you'll understand it clearly. So just I'm taking one example. So first I'm taking an example for these 3 productions. So what are the 3 productions for this? Just take the example for these 3 productions, E or E and not E. Okay. The thing here is you need to understand what is a concept. So that's why I'm splitting the productions and explaining different examples. A or B and not C. This is an example. So for this expression you need to draw the tree, or A and B not C. Okay, so this is a tree. Now let's check, parse the tree from top to bottom. So there is no reduction here. Okay, yes, here the reduction is there, not C. So not C, just check what is the not C. E determines not E. Okay, so here E determines not E. So a reduction is there. So whenever the reduction is there, what is the action? E dot place is equal to new temporary variable. Means you have to assign a temporary variable. Let's take T1. Okay. So and then you have to place E dot place is equal to not E1 dot place. Not E1 dot place. So you have to write this step here. T1 is equal to not C. E1 dot place is, what is the E1 dot place? The value of E1 dot place is equal to, that's a C value, so not C. Now again coming to here, the reduction is there. Okay, and B and T1. So B and, what is the production? B and E and E2. So B and T1. B and T1. So let's take this T2. So for this production, what is the action? E dot place is equal to new temp. So let's take the temporary variable T2, and for that you have to emit E dot place is equal to E1 dot place and E2 dot place. So what is the E1 dot place? B, and what is the B2 dot place? E2 dot place, that is a T1. Okay, now coming to here, and let's take A or T2. A or T2 means E1, it is in the form of E1 or E2. So what is the action for this? Just take E dot place is equal to new temporary variable. Means let's take the T3. The T3 is equal to, what is the action it has to do? Emit E dot place is equal to E1 dot place or E2 dot place. So what is the E1 dot place? E1 dot place is A, or E2 dot place is T2. So this is the for this expression A or B and not C, and this is the temporary variables holding the values. Let's take another example. So in this example, let's take the relational operator. Let's explaining the relational operator. So what is the relational operator production? The relational operator production is ID. E determines ID relational operator ID2. So for this, if the production is like this, the action is it has to be performed. Let's see this action. I'm taking an example as if A less than B, then 1, else 0. So this is a statement. So for this, I'm taking a series of steps. Let's take allocation 100. First checking E dot place is equal to new temp. If ID1 is relational operator and ID2, so first check the condition. First statement, if A less than B, if A is less than B, then what we have to do? I had to go to next statement plus 3. Okay, if A less than B, go to next state plus 3. So what is the state? Here is 100. The next plus 3 means add 3. So I have to jump to 103. Okay, now coming to 101. So the next place is E dot place is equal to 0. So E dot place is assigned to a new temporary variable T1. So now T1 is equal to 0. Now 102. So next statement, go to next state plus 2. So when T1 is equal to 0, go to next state plus 2 means for this 2 you add plus 2 means go to 104. And next statement 103 is E dot place is equal to 1. E dot place means the temporary variable T1. T1 is equal to 1. Okay, so this is how you have to be whatever the expression they are given. If A less than B, go to 103. So 103, what is the value here? T1 is equal to 1. Is it correct? Is the solution is correct? If A less than B, then print 1. If A less than B, go to 103. What is 103? 103 is holding 1. So correct. Otherwise 0. If A is not less than B, it just print T1 is equal to 0 and go to 104. Means the statement is false and it jumps to 104. I hope you understand. So this is an example. Okay, by seeing the this production, this is a production for for that production. This is an action. The series of steps is here. If A less than B, okay, next statement plus 3. So go to 103 and just whatever the statements here, just write here and check whether the statement is correct or not. If A less than B, go to 103. So what is there in 103? T1 is equal to 1. Okay, that is our question and we get the answer. So let's take an example which covers all the operations. Let me take a new fresh page and let me explain the example which covers all the productions and further actions. A less than B or C less than D and E less than F. Okay, let's take these are the productions. So for this, what are the actions that we have to be take? First, let me draw the diagram. Parts tree less than A, B, and here AND for AND. This is less than C, D, and this is less than E, F. So for this expression, this is the parts tree. Right? Now let's see. So coming to here, so A less than B. This is the first relational operator. First relational operator, A less than B. If A less than B, that is the relational operator, first reduction. This is the first reduction, A less than B. So whenever A less than B, so what's the conditions? Just 100. If A less than B, suppose if A less than B, what we have to do? We have to go to next statement, just skip 3 steps. Go to 3 steps, 100 plus 3, 103 and 101. So E dot place, we are taking the temporary variable T1. Let's take this is the T1. So T1 is equal to 0. Okay, so next 102. 102 is go to next statement plus 2. So go to plus 2 means where we have to go? 102 plus 2, 104. And 103 is E dot place is equal to 1. That is the T1 is equal to 1. So the first reduction is over. Now coming to the second one. So this is the second reduction in the relational operator, means C less than D. So again check 104. If A less than B, print T1 is equal to 1. Okay. Okay. And continue with the 104 step. Suppose if A is not less than B, print T1 is equal to 0 and go to 104. Okay. So this is 104 is having, this is the first reduction and this is the second reduction. So in 104, if C less than D. According to our step, continue the steps one by one. If C less than D, skip 3 steps, means go to 104 plus 3, 107. 105. The next is E dot place. Now the temporary variable is, let's take, this is the T2 temporary. T2 is equal to 0 and 106 is go to next place 2. Means go to plus 2, 108. And 107 is T2 is equal to 1. If C is less than D, if it is correct, print T2 is equal to 1. Okay, means we are jumping to go to 107. Go to 107. Otherwise, T2 is equal to 0 and go to 108. So, whenever this condition is true, print T2 is equal to 1 and continue with 108 statement. If it is wrong, print T2 is equal to 0 and continue with 108 statement. Now, coming to this, the third reduction. The third reduction is a relational operator E less than F. If E less than F, go to add plus 3 according to 108, 109, 10, 11, 111, 109. Take the temporary variable T3. T3 is equal to 0, 110, go to plus 2, 112. Let me write here. 111. So what is the 111? T3 is equal to 1. Okay. So 112. So next what is it? The 3 reductions are over. Coming to here. So here and this is a T4. Let's take this is a T4. So the T4 and operation means E1 and E2. What is the action for E1 and E2? Let me show you the action for E1 and E2. E1 and E2 means you have to take the temporary variable. I am taking the temporary variable as T4. Okay. Now E dot place, that is a temporary variable T4 is equal to E1 dot place and E2 dot place. So E1 dot place is T2 and T3. So T4, the temporary variable T4 is equal to T2 and T3. Now next statement is 113. So coming to here, the final one. So or T1 or T4. So what is the action for or? Just take the temporary variable. Let me take the temporary variable T5. So emit E dot place is equal to E1 dot place or E2 dot place. So 115 T5 is equal to E1 dot place, that is the T1 or T4. So this is how you have to be execute the write the intermediate code for this, the given expression. It's a Boolean expression. So the Boolean expression, first construct the parse tree. So by using this parse tree, wherever the reduction is occurred, just check the productions for these reductions. That is A less than B, C less than D, E less than F. These are all the relational operators. So you have to go to the production for E determines ID1, relational operator ID2. So for that action, what is the for this production, what is the action? So these are the actions for that productions. So whenever the end is come, this is the production action, and wherever the R is come, this is the action. Okay, so don't be confused. Just take just see what is the concept. You need to by heart it, or you can understand. No need to by heart. You just understand. For that production, what is the actions? What are the semantic rules for that productions? So that you have to be know that. Okay, find out. So if you aware of that productions and the semantic rules, then this is easy for you to draw this. That parse tree is simple, and by whenever the reduction is occurred, just write the action for that reduction. Thank you.